Hey guys, welcome to Keep Hope Alive and Party Time Texas podcast. Boy, do we have a show for you today. As you can see, I got this haunted house behind me. So it's our Halloween special edition, and I want you to bring out your soda pop and popcorn or whatever candies you like. Get your teddy bear. You may have to squeeze really, really tight because I have a guest speaker who has been through a lot of stuff and has witnessed a lot of stuff. And it's my job for Halloween to give you scariness stories. So she'll be talking about the Haunted Hill House, which is located in Mineral Wells, Texas. And from what I understand, hundreds of people have died in this house. And at one time, there might be more, right? I think there's a lot more. Wait, unaccounted people too. No? Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
I'm going to
yeah, not
introduce them
hundreds. Yeah, not hundreds.
beyond hundreds. Okay.
Yeah, not hundreds.
Okay. I'm going to let her tell the story. It's truly, from what I understand, the portal of hell. And we get to learn about that today. So, for those people who know me, this is a hard podcast for me to do. So I'm always love and light. I'm putting up my border and protecting myself. But you know what? It's a scary interview. It's Halloween. And for me, I gotta say, I know a lot of this is true in life, and I'm gonna be honest. I'm not gonna hold back and lie on my show or anything like that. So the question is, how many of y'all believe in ghosts and the demons and stuff? And of course, protecting yourself. I know everybody's going to be opinionated. Like I said, we're just here to have a good time and talk. So today's episode is brought to you by Life on Record. We do have a phone number that you can call in with your ghost stories at 833-780-HOPE. And you can leave us any questions. Martha Hazzard Decker is our guest speaker today, so she'll be able to answer some of those questions as well, whether it's in the form of later on in the week, but we will get those answers and we would love to hear your stories. So, Life on Record, they offer a wedding, and I say any event, guest book that provides a fun, interactive experience for you and your guest. With the Life on Record telephone guest book service, your guests can call in on their very own cell phones before, during, or even after the wedding, or use a distinctive vintage rotary phone. All recordings go through a noise cancellation and speech enhancement process. And you might capture some ghost on there probably too, if you have a ghost wedding. And you can make it even more interactive. They have QR codes and keepsake speaker, or you can get it on a 12-inch vinyl record. So their plans only start like at $99, which include a toll-free dial and the number for a full year. So you can learn more on lifeonrecord.com. So I want to introduce Ms. Martha Hazzard Decker. She is our guest speaker today. Welcome. So we want to
Hi.
hear. We want to hear about the Haunted Hill House Mineral Wells. So I'm going to let you take the floor and tell us about what it is and the history and your experiences.
Well, the house was built in they think around the 1870s, and now it's catty corner to the Baker Hotel. There's tunnel from the Baker Hotel to Haunted Hill House and to the church that's next to it. And we haven't found the tunnel yet. That's something they bought the house in 2018, and we've been searching for the tunnels ever since. Because I've become good friends with the owners. I'm
Okay.
their public information person now because of my former journalism background. And in the house behind you is the old version of Haunted Hill House.
Oh, wow. Wow.
It doesn't look anything like that anymore.
Yeah,
It
it doesn't
looks
really.
a
It looks
little
a
like
lot.
the little railing on the porch. That railing's not there. The house is. They bought the house. Kathy and Sonny Estes bought the house 2018. They put a new roof on there. They had the house leveled. They had the house painted outside, inside. They have enclosed what was a like 3/4 porch out back. They
Oh,
have
wow.
enclosed that into another bedroom, and it has activity like the rest of the house now. They added another bathroom in there. There's one room in the house called the Shadow Man room, and there's a bathroom that was connected to it that was sealed up for over 50 years.
So can I ask you quick questions here now?
Yeah.
Like the term shadow man, I've heard it before when I was visiting Pennsylvania. And I never knew that was real. They told me it was people who weren't supposed to die yet are shadow people. Is that a correct
I
terminology?
you hear so many different things about that I don't really know. What I mean, you have some people that go the shadow people, shadow that you see are watchers. You have
Yeah,
some people that
yeah.
think that they're no good. There's so many different theories about what that is. And when Sonny and Kathy bought the house, they bought it from Phil Kirchhoff, who was an archaeologist, and he had it for 5 years. And paranormal investigations used to go on, and so that's what Sonny and Kathy have continued. They took Phil's research for the history on the house, and they changed it and they updated it because there were some things that were incorrect when he had it. And there's documentation of the people who've been murdered at the house. There's full names. We know what cemetery some of them are buried at. We have the death certificates of some of them. So it's not just made up stuff. It's
Oh,
literal history
yes.
that we've been able to document. There's Donna McCauley is actually the historian for the house. She is also the historian for Parker County and for the
Mhm.
city of Weatherford.
Okay.
So, and so does a lot of history. She does metal detecting, and has all kinds of goodies at her house from
Oh,
other
wow.
places. And
Wow.
so Hill
Ah,
House, makeshift hospital. It's been a speakeasy. It's been a brothel. There was a house next to it, which is now an empty lot, and that house was a drug house. And so they have that too. East Mountain is behind this house, and they own all the way up to about 22 feet from the very top. And there's stories about Sam Bass and his gold, the missing gold that he stole, possibly being buried or
mhm.
hidden in one of the small caves up there. So that house has natural deaths, murders, treasure. It has false fireplaces in it that are really
Oh,
kind of weird. But the house initially started as an A-frame, and two for sure, I think possibly three of the original wells in Mineral Wells are on this property. One, the house was built on top of because a judge came
why,
in
why
and
did they do
ordered
that?
everybody to cover the wells.
Ah, but that's
At
not
one
smart. That sounds like a portal already.
well, at one time there were over 20 bathhouses in town, and that's part of how the Baker was built. And they had water from the mineral springs in
Okay.
the bath, in all the bedrooms in it, at the hotel and all. So you can still go to the Crazy Water company, and they have like a couple of bath rooms with a bathtub, so you can still get a bath in the mineral water. And they said there was a lady in town who was crazy, which is how they named everything crazy. She started drinking the water, which would have been from the well on Hill House property, and it fixed her, so to say. But the thing is, the lady's name is Deborah Renfro, and she actually lived in this house. Her sister owned the house, and there's a room in the back of the house that the bars are all from the inside nailed in, and there you just can't get those nails out to get those bars off. And speculation is that maybe she was in that was her room. Speculation is that when it was a brothel, there were possible women kept in there, possible births, possible abortions, and that's called the Priscilla Blair room. And The
Who is
spirits in that
Priscilla?
room they don't like men in the room.
Okay, yeah, I'm hearing spirits don't like there's Goatman's Bridge. I went there without watching their investigation. It's better that way. But then as a photographer, like my son is funny. He is like, "Can we just go at nighttime and you bring your camera?" And I'm like, "No, because I saw the documentary." I go, "That thing doesn't like women. What makes you think I'm going to take my camera and go out there again? I'm not going."
That sounds like fun.
It's fun during the day until you get lost in the woods, because I did do that. I don't know how about all of us got divided, but I have never felt like my heart racing and I'm like in the woods going, I'm calling names, my kids' names, and my fiance at the time, like, "Where are you? Why can't you hear me? Why? And all I knew is get back to the bridge. And then we all met up, and the kids were like, I saw this in the woods. And they have like, what did they say? It's like a Ouija board, a human Ouija board. And then they have some portal tree that is cut open, but you'll find broken plates there with people's names on them. I don't know what's going on, but
Well, it's really not safe at night unless you have a group, because you have drug activity out there and other type
uh,
of activity like that out there.
yeah.
During the day you have the families and the kids, but at night you get the more unsavory types out there.
Yeah, like even if I was ever an officer in my life, which I never would be, and if they put me on duty to go watch a haunted place because they're afraid kids are gonna act up, I don't know if I could do that ever. Be like, I'm not going on that bridge, or I'm not going in that house.
Nothing. Because well, that's because I have my background in law enforcement.
Gotcha. See, I forgot about that already, and I'm here talking about being a cop.
Yeah, well, I was it was called Moshon Mansion in Seguin, and it has a new name, new owners now. I don't know what the name is, but there's a basement downstairs, a big basement with a big
Mhm.
holding cell, because I forget his first name. Last name is England. He was a
Wait,
one
wait, wait,
term mayor.
wait, 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 wait. Back up. Last name is what?
England.
Spell that.
England. England.
Okay.
He
I
was a
will tell
one
you
well,
something funny off record.
he was a one-term governor.
Uh-huh.
And he was an attorney. He was a one term governor, but he had the place built. It's like 10,000 square feet inside. But downstairs they had the holding cell, and they had tunnels from his house. He's about a block or so from the courthouse, and they would take the Hispanics, the blacks, the Native Americans, all the people like that, and they would transport them to the jail, to the courthouse for trial through the tunnels, because there were lynchings,
Oh,
like
wow.
between his house and even the courthouse. That people would get lynched, so they started taking people and taking them through that way. So I was down there for a conference real quick, and I went downstairs with two psychics. One had been he had been a guitarist with the Texas Tornadoes, and the other one is a nephew of the Warrens. Um, the Warrens that everybody
Wait.
talks about in the paranormal, the couple
Oh, I
that
don't
like
know about that.
okay, like the Conjuring movies are done after the Warrens, based on some of their investigations and so on. So one that was his aunt and uncle. So we go downstairs, and I'm wondering where is the tunnel, because it's closed up, but can I figure out where it was? And I go into this one room that was you had on one side, it was all a pretty good size holding cell, and then big open basement, a smaller room on the other side. And I think that's where the tunnel had been. But I go down there, and then I'm walking back, and one of the guys says, "Oh, he's was glad you're here. He's been waiting for a long time." I go, "What, you mean the guard of them?" Yeah. I said, well, he can just stay there. I'm not staying here.
Oh, no, no, no. Yeah.
I
No.
didn't come here to do that. But so one of the owners of Hill House was a Texas Ranger
Okay.
also back in the early 1900s, 1800s, somewhere in there. He was a Texas Ranger, and that probably would have been might have been around in the 1900s because I think that was during Sam Bass's time.
Mm-hmm.
He was a ranger. So, and evidently we kind of made the connection that they two knew of each other.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Also, yeah, there's also a handprint and a name put in. There's some concrete porch, or not, well, sort of a porch, but it's between the main house and what had been that the 3/4 porch. And the person who did that was related to everybody, but he lived in California.
Okay.
So there's a sign still in Mineral Wells that says welcome. Initially, that sign was behind Hill House, and a big
Oh.
old giant sign. Well, this guy, the he was a well-known film producer.
Mm-hmm.
So he came and he saw the sign and he liked that idea, and that's pretty much where the Hollywood sign came
Oh, okay.
from
Huh.
him seeing the welcome sign, and he took that idea back to Hollywood. He also was murdered by his son in the 80s. And his
Wow.
son claimed he thought that he was a burglar.
Oh, nice.
So it's like the murders from Hill House just continue on elsewhere.
Wow. That's creepy though.
It
So
is. There was a drunk cowboy that fell in one of the wells, drowned, and of course they pulled him out. But
that's good. Oh my gosh. I remember when little Jessica fell in a well here. Was it in Texas? I think it
yeah,
was.
that was down South Texas.
Oh my gosh. I remember praying all the time, but how I thought wells are like really tiny. Like,
No, no, not a well. Well, the other things can be smaller, but the wells are pretty good size round.
oh, okay. Oh my
And I
gosh. And
know after they bought the house, somebody had stopped by, said she was an empath, asked about walking around. So they're walking around the outside of the house, and she's telling them some of the history that they already know. But when they go by the well, they happen to be recording. I don't know if they were doing like a Facebook Live or they were just recording. And as they go past the well, you hear this like young child where you can't really tell if it's male or female because it's such a young child, but you hear plain as day, help me, mommy, I'm hurting.
oh, that's sad. And I mean, being empathic myself,
Yeah, me too.
we do hear those things. Not everybody, I don't even want to say it's a gift, but it's crazy. Like I know when I do photography, there is one picture I had and my grandma had passed. And I don't know if it was like a month later, we were celebrating Christmas and my dad didn't feel good. And for some reason, my camera started shaking and took this weird picture. I didn't think anything of it. When I was editing the pictures, you could see my grandma's face coming out of my dad's face, clear as day. And I'll put it up on my Facebook going, hey, you tell me ghosts aren't real. That is my grandma. Like clear
Right.
as day. And I put a picture of my grandma out there and people do see it. But it's hard because a lot of people will choose not to, or they just like, okay, maybe I do believe in ghosts, but I don't want to think about it. And I get that.
Right.
I understand. I don't even want to give time or energy, but sadly enough, when we have stories and there is facts and proof and tons of people, I mean, this is it. There's not much more that you can say. I mean, especially when you said she wanted to walk the borders of the house. Yes. I mean, I know I went to go visit a place recently in Fort Worth, and I just knew on the outside. I was like, yeah, this is gonna be fun to go into. But they have ghost events there. And I was just kind of surprised, like this is becoming a thing. And I don't know, like ghost weddings. Have you heard of that? Get married in
Well,
haunted?
yeah, because there are three of us who are ordained ministers, and we will prefer you know, wedding ceremonies there.
Yeah, yeah.
That's so they can spend the night in the haunted house if they want, or if they want to think of it as the murder house because there's been a number of murders in this house.
Oh
And
gosh.
so
I
they,
don't think
they have murders and they have spirits and they have other things too.
but how, like, my question is, like, how often do they get booked? A lot?
Oh, that place, well, like the weekends are usually booked up. She only books 6 months in advance. And so the weekends are almost always fully booked up for 6 months. And they have a camper that they stay in out back because sometimes they have to kick people out of the house because they're just being very destructive. Or sometimes, a number of times, even paranormal teams don't make it through the night at the house and they'll just take off and leave everything open and on.
Wait, so these experts are getting scared and going away?
Well, they're not experts, but yeah, they're investigators. They have their teams. Oh, I have spent more nights alone in that house than anybody has.
How many
So
nights
I've
are we
had a lot,
A lot.
especially when I was because I wrote Haunted Hill House Where Spirits Speak, and which is actually a series because there was more stuff than I could put in one book.
Mhm.
And there was one summer before last. I was there 3 days, and the whole point while I was there was not to investigate, but to stay there as if I was living in the house.
Yeah.
And this is where my creepiest experience happened. The first night, so the first night it was just residual. It's very calm, very mild. You just the residual stuff because you hear there's stuff going on in this house almost all the time, every single day.
Hmm.
So it's almost like a guaranteed, activity if somebody takes a place for a night or 2 nights or however long they rent the place, there will be activity. Um, so Toby is some type of demon that initially when they had the house, he was only upstairs. The previous owners, not Phil, but the people he bought the house from, they were there for about 20 years. And they ended up practicing, they were doing occult rituals and dark magic, black magic, things like that.
Hmm.
And supposedly, when one of them was a teenager in high school, she and some friends, using the Ouija board,
That's awesome. Yeah.
yeah, conjured up Toby, and they named him Toby. So that's the name they gave this entity that has never been human, and he's definitely there. We have a picture of him. There was a group going through there, and when they were there for that event, there was one lady wearing a GoPro. She's deaf, and something told her. She just turned around and snapped a picture. Well,
Okay.
Toby is absolutely in that picture, a big time. It's one of them I use when I do my presentations at conferences. And when it's on the big screen, because I've been in a couple of theaters, he's really creepy. So
I,
so if you listen to their Facebook Live or go to any of my TikToks and
mm-hmm.
see some of the stuff, he sounds, whether it's in audible, because I've heard him many times, or if it's coming through on a spirit box or something, he sounds the same. He sounds almost mechanical, but it's Toby. His voice, it just stays the same. He likes to hiss, he likes to growl. And
Wow.
so he's never scared me. A lot of people have hear them and they take off running out of his room upstairs, fall down the stairs. They do all kinds of things, run down screaming with their arms going. And
That's not going to help, by the way. They accomplish. I mean, I'm sorry.
There's a couple of videos. I have one on my TikTok where probably one of the biggest skeptics was up there and they heard stuff and he's like 6'4" or something, this big old tall skinny guy, and he is running out and around and down the stairs and screaming. You can hear him downstairs in the kitchen just going to town.
Oh my goodness. Yeah,
Teams have slept under the table in the kitchen. They think the kitchen is a safe place. And well, the kitchen is the command center. That's where they have all of the equipment, because if somebody spends the night there, they don't have to worry about equipment, or if they don't have any, there's equipment. There are cameras in every room but the bathrooms, and they're taught how to use equipment. They're shown how to go look at, something happened, come in here and enlarge that room and you can back it up. And, so they can make copies of their stuff by, watching it, or see if, was that closed or was that open? Because I've had doors open and closed. I've had the piano play. I've lost time there. I've been scratched. I've been bitten. All sorts of stuff. So
yeah.
So
I get it.
So what Toby did, one of the times I was there, I stay in the axe room, and like I said, Phil gave this place all these names, and they kept the same names in the same rooms. And I like the axe room because it's in the very front of the house. It is right next to the stairs and right next to the front door and the hallway that goes through in the living room. So you hear all of the residual stuff and more. So I was in there, I was sound asleep. Toby woke me up hissing. And I just ignored it, went back to sleep, no reaction.
It's like, hey, I'm asleep right now. You need to go away.
And then, so a couple months later, so I was in there again. Only I went in, I had just laid down, so I was fully wide awake and closed my eyes. And Toby, if I had opened my eyes, we would have been like nose to nose, where you could like feel your hair fly from the wind, spittle from it, hissing.
Yeah.
I didn't react. I didn't open my eyes. I just went to sleep or acted like I was asleep. It didn't scare me, didn't faze me. Really didn't. And I wasn't there by myself, too.
Oh, wow.
If not both of those, I was there by myself in the house. So I'm staying there for those 3 days. Everything's been really calm. The second day ends, and I'm just totally open. I'm tired. I'm relaxed. I'm super open. And maybe too open. And so they have a curtain that goes takes place of the door for the kitchen that goes into the hall, and the living room is to the right, and to the left is the front door and the 2 bedrooms and the stairs. So right about the time I'm about to get up, and I had just been texting Kathy, so I knew she was up. I heard the loudest combo of hiss, roar, scream, growl, you name it, all at one. And it was so loud, it shook the house.
Oh my goodness.
And you would think the people next door heard it. It was so loud. Well, I knew it was Toby, but I go up there, I throw that curtain, and I look up because it came from upstairs.
Yeah.
And I go, well, yeah, I heard you. So what? It's like, I said, so what? What are you going to do?
Yeah.
I mean, woo, you yelled.
It doesn't mean you're leaving the house. I mean, you can yell as much as you want.
And, it startled me. So the adrenaline went through the roof. So I'm going to go sit out on the front porch and just kind of calm down.
Yeah.
And so I'm calling Kathy, and as I do, one of the security cameras, because all the cameras except for several main security ones are audio only. So this one they're video only. So this one I passed has audio. And I'm calling Kathy. I'm unlocking the 6 million locks on the front door kind of thing to tell her, and I'm just going to go sit out there, talk to her a minute, then go back in and go to sleep. And as I walk past the security camera, Sonny gets his notification on his phone. So he listens to it. And what he picked up on that was, watch. Toby made her turn red. You'll get her later.
Uh,
That's what was on there.
oh my goodness. That's like weird.
So Kathy, so they called, there's a friend of theirs, and she comes and cleans sometimes after, the people rented are gone. And
Mhm.
she and her son, who's in his 30s, live just a couple minutes away. So they come over, and Ryan wants to investigate. And the whole point was I did not want to change the environment. I wanted it kept so he couldn't investigate. So
Wow.
they came in, they stayed for a few hours, and then they left, and I was in the house by myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I look, there's one room upstairs, it's Joshua, and Joshua, his mother is Sarah Elizabeth, but they go by Elizabeth mostly for her, not Sarah Elizabeth. And
Mm-hmm.
this is when Willie owned the house, and it's just was going through the generations with the different owners. And this was during the time it was a brothel and a speakeasy.
Okay.
She had Joshua, she was right by Willie, her uncle. And Joshua, we think he was Down syndrome. He had some kind of, thing like that with him,
Okay.
or with his hands or his feet. But there was something, and back then they would make the kids, kids would grow up in attics because they weren't allowed to be seen. And so Joshua was supposed to stay upstairs, and he started to come downstairs one day. And like I said, we have documented dates of the deaths. We have the death certificates. So Willie became incensed, and he goes up there and he's beating Joshua.
Oh,
His
wow.
mother goes up there to try to protect Joshua. She ends up dying on the stairs. Willie kills her. And then Joshua ended up behind one of the fake fireplaces upstairs, and that's where he died.
Okay. Wow.
So both are still in the house. They do come and go. Then there's another little boy named Jacob that was made to look like he accidentally hung himself on the swing outside. But he was sexually assaulted, he was tortured, and he was murdered. And the shadow man, the initial shadow man in the room they call the shadow man, is supposed to be the perpetrator of that. And when we came in there, initially the stories from the town were that he left town, left state, got caught in another state, and for the same type thing. Well, we talked to him, and through dowsing rods and other things with some really good psychics. And he said he never got caught, he never left, and that Jacob was not the only boy.
Oh boy.
And around that time, there were several other children. This is something else I'd like to look into more, but there were several other children that went out, became missing. Around that time, within a few years, they just disappeared.
Wow.
And they were all around the same age. And we don't know who Jacob belonged to. If he was, maybe a cleaning woman or one of the prostitutes there, or if it was another, we just don't know who the parent was of Jacob. That we've never been able to really establish.
Oh
So
wow.
they're still there. So I go in there and I read to the children sometime. Um, Ever since that big roar yell, whatever it was from Toby, he doesn't do that anymore. But
Save your voice.
it didn't run me off. But one day I was up there and there was an event going on, and I ate something and I got sick. So I went into the X room, which is the room up front that I stay in. And I was laying there and with my eyes closed. And there's a bathroom, and then there's another room next to that, and then there's the scratch room. And I could hear, I don't know how, probably a dozen times at least, I was hearing the get out from Toby. Whether it was for them or for me, I just was hearing the get out and the hiss, and I just ignored it.
That's what I've seen in movies. Like they'll say something like, get away or shh, or, something.
Oh yeah.
But it's like they need to learn to speak complete sentences now.
Well, when you think about it, though, really, the get out, that can be like a scary get out, or it could be, I'm trying to protect you, leave, get out,
Yes.
because
Yes.
there might be something negative there that could affect somebody.
Something else that you're not aware of that is also haunting that area. So,
Well, well, they have somebody there that, sometimes things come and go, new stuff shows up. We think there could be a pathway from the baker. And then, of course, they have the drug house next door. So they've got a guy that's like an enforcer
okay.
that, break your legs enforcer that is at
Yeah.
the house. And he likes to kind of just be low key. Um, but he wears a trench coat, has long blonde hair, and he wears like biker boots. And
Okay.
And there was a drug house. We know of at least 5 murders at the drug house that was next door that is part of their
Yeah.
property that really hasn't been super investigated, the property. Um, but he, about the time he showed up was when people were upstairs, they started getting sick, nauseous, go throw up, headaches, all that kind of discomfort. And I talked to a good friend of mine, and she didn't know all of this, and she was telling me about him. And she described him, and that he is strong, and that he can get mad really fast. and don't call him out. Whatever you do,
Yeah.
don't call him out because he can hurt you. She's like, he'll make you nauseous, he'll make you throw up, but he can really hurt you.
Oh,
He's pretty,
wow.
like he's pretty strong enforcer.
That's craziness. Like I've heard that spirits can actually use your body also. Is that true?
Oh yeah.
Like,
Well, yeah, there's been
to get more
possessions.
energy?
Yeah, well, there's been some possessions at the house,
Mm-hmm.
low key possessions.
Yeah.
That somebody's able to take care of it, and at the time, it's not like the buildup like you see in the movies or anything. And usually, a lot of times, you get that person, you do a little interdiction, and you get that person off property, and they're fine.
Yeah.
They're fine.
Oh,
Sometimes they
wow.
just don't start acting right, like everybody has seen in some of the other paranormal, shows like Ghost Adventures. And of course, they have to remember those are all about entertainment. So you're not always actually seeing true things.
You're kidding. Not just waiting for behind where you're sitting something to come through there.
Well, you never know,
I hope
or
not.
not, because when I talk about Toby, when I'm in here talking about Toby, a lot of times I feel him show up here,
Oh boy. Are you
and I
feeling
can
anything right now?
a little bit, but not as much as I've had before. There's just a certain
Yeah.
well, it's getting a little bit more now, but there's a certain feeling I get. But I'd be, come on, knock on one of the windows because I've had that happen before.
Yeah.
Good solid, knocks, not little taps, but bang
Exactly.
bang.
Exactly. That would freak me out. Like anything like from hangers swinging in the closet by itself, things knocking over that don't make sense. I heard of somebody using holy water, to make a
Oh,
spirit go
that's
away.
used quite a bit. And when a lot of people get scratched in this house,
Oh
and that's one of the
boy.
things. There's holy water. There's blessed oil in there. And Kathy, when she's there, she puts the oil on everybody before they leave. And she does their vehicles too, because there are people who have had things follow them home. Sometimes they're not a nice person. There was one guy that when they opened up the bathroom that was sealed, it was sealed over 50 years because there was a murder suicide in there.
Oh,
And
okay.
so, it has the original bathtub in there. It has the original mirror in there, the medicine cabinet mirror. Those are the
Yeah.
original parts in
Yeah.
there. And it's like he was sitting on the toilet. And there's a bullet hole. They still have the tank. And there's a bullet hole in the tank. and there was some stuff on the wall in the corner behind him that a couple people that were, professionally forensic people
Mm-hmm.
they said that it was, brain matter in hair. Whether it was or not, I don't know because it was never officially tested. But some guy came in and stole it.
No,
And
who would want to
he
steal
called,
that?
and so he called Kathy, several days or a week later, and because something followed him home and was not being nice to him. He was not
Uh,
having a good time.
oh, that's like,
So she said, you need to bring it back.
yeah.
So he went back to the house. He never went on the property. He just kind of went by and tossed it out the window.
Oh my goodness. Like, I'm not going in there. I'm afraid something's going to happen to me here. I put it back. It's at least
But
on the property.
when you go in there and you're a good person, and if everybody's like really energetic, they're going to have
Yeah.
some really good, maybe some scary, but good interactions with what's at the house. Uh,
Yeah.
if they go in there and they're just super, bump on the log, no energy, go to bed at 10 o'clock or something kind of people, there'll be some things that happen that are residual, but they are not going to get the same activity as other people are. One of the times I was there, they had people in the house and I was staying in the camper with Sonny and Kathy. And one of the things they do when people rent the house for the night is they go out and they get fancy donuts for the morning because they provide snacks and drinks, while you're there too, besides the equipment. But Sonny came back, he was laughing so hard. And he went out to go get that, and everybody, and this was a paranormal team, everybody was sleeping on the front porch.
Okay. Yeah. So do not stay in the house. So,
They were on the front porch.
yeah, definitely. So, my
Now
gosh,
something
I thought
I
you were going to
haven't
say they ate the donuts.
no no that there was a bunch of guys, big guys, macho guys, that the newest room, they thought it was safe. They had all these guys, big guys, tall guys, whatever, they're all piled into they call it the Priscilla Blair room. They were all piled in there, thought they were safe
Oh,
for the
wow.
night
Yeah,
or for the
that
morning. Yeah, because you usually just get a few hours of sleep when you're there. It's just
you see, my thing
paranormal
is
teams.
like not even a
I mean,
haunted house, but I get scared. Well, ever since I was a little girl, I always thought my stuffed animals would come alive at night and just be all right. That's craziness, but I know that wasn't happening. But yeah, I don't know. For people who have dreams that feel so real at times, sometimes what's the word I'm looking for? Intuitive. So the outer stuff, like, and it stinks.
well,
Yeah. But
no, there are people who have never been to the house but they're going to the house and they'll start dreaming about the house before they ever get there.
yeah, then that would be a key sign. Do not go. Like they're trying to stop you from coming. And yeah, just having the dream like that. So I get that. It's very understandable. Like I hope they listen to it, or maybe they don't. And they have like, I mean, just thinking of walking in there, like if you're confident, you're not going to be scared. And this is like, ha ha ha, going in there, then you hear something or get scratched, it changes your body motion. Like you start to have that fear.
There was a couple, their group came in and they were in their, early 20s to mid 20s, right around in there in this group. But
Mm-hmm.
this one couple, they came in like they were Satanist wannabes. They had, all the tattoos, 666 and all kinds of stuff tattooed all over themselves. And so they were in Jacob's room, and that's the one where they don't like guys in there. And she sat on the bed, and Kathy tells a history of the house.
Uh-huh.
It's a really good history tour. And so they were in there and she was talking about that room and giving the history. The girl sat on the bed and she kind of was mocking or she was, doing something like that, being a little aggressive more than a little assertive. And you can go to YouTube and all you do is put in girl jerked off bed, and that video will pop up those few seconds on everything. And it's been on shown on Paranormal Caught on Camera. It's been shown on the I Want to Believe with Jack Osborne and his parents, and the
Mm-hmm.
Fright Night. This girl gets jerked off that bed so fast by the ankles that you almost don't see her. She flies off so fast.
Oh, wow.
And
Wow.
you see her get up, and man, she flies out of that room. And then everybody leaves, and their boyfriend came in a little bit later, and
Mm-hmm.
he's like, try to mock like, oh, you gonna pick on girls like that? How about me? Well, he got kind of gut punched into the wall.
Well, don't
So
question a spirit to come after you. So,
and of course that is something unusual. Things like that don't always happen. And
yeah.
some people come and they see that, and that's what they want. They want to be thrown across the room. They want to be scratched. They want to be jerked off the bed. And
I just can't. I mean, I get it. There are people that want to witness that and see that. I will never understand it. I know I never would. I mean, I got chills just interviewing you here right now. So,
so underneath the stairs is a closet, and they were calling it the portal closet, but it's almost like a psychomanium with mirrors on either side.
yeah.
And it's a little bit open, and part of it's open, all the way under the bottom stairs, totally in the back. That is one closet. And it's not because of the mirrors. I do not like sitting in that closet because my back seems so vulnerable and open to something. I just get a creepy feeling
Yeah.
in that closet. Anywhere else, I'm good. But that closet, I mean, I'll go in there if I have to, but
Yeah.
I usually don't have to.
Yeah. And yeah, it's just weird. Like having those different, the kitchen being the safe place is kind of weird to me. I'd be scared of the kitchen. So,
Things have gone flying in the kitchen. There's been like poltergeist activity in the kitchen. There's one person, Natalie Jones. She was in there with her Ghost Hunter girls, and she's also one of the CEOs and main persons for the streaming called Paraflix.
yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of great documentaries, with different teams that are really well done on
Yeah.
Paraflix. So she was upstairs. She had her iPad like in the middle of the kitchen table, and while they were upstairs doing something, that thing went. They heard a noise downstairs, and that iPad had gone flying off the table,
Oh,
kind of
wow.
across the room. They have caught things coming out of the cabinets, and so no, it's not totally a safe place.
Yeah, I would say so. Just, I would want to stay away from all those places. Like, I'm trying to famine, like, I'm trying to pretend like, what do you wear to a wedding at a haunted mansion? Like a black dress or
Whatever you want.
I want to see it. Like, I really want to see pictures of how people would dress up for that haunted wedding. And, you know, I know the place I was talking about, Fort Worth, they're opening their doors, I think, on Halloween, and you can go and investigate it. And I just, hearing that, yeah, there's a lot of people that would go do that. And there's probably a lot of people that do want to come to this house now and after seeing this podcast. So, if you do and you do this tour at this house that doesn't look like this anymore.
Well, and then the tours, occasionally they'll have some events. There's an
Hmm.
event coming up this coming weekend that Natalie Jones and
Hmm.
Paraflix are sponsoring. And
Okay.
I don't know if there's still tickets available for that or not. There was one this past weekend, and I was there last weekend. They had pro wrestling on the empty lot.
Pro wrestling. That's cool though.
Yeah, and so they had pro wrestling, something different. We have done sky watching and UFO events over there too, because
Oh,
there have
that's
been
cool.
UFOs in the Mineral Wells area, and they have seen some unusual things at the house. There's been some guys that have gone outside to go out back to smoke, and you can hear them. I've seen the videos. Man, they are running like crazy, stomping to get back into the house because something is chasing them back into the house. Um, Multiple people.
That's a hard one. You might be scared to go outside, but the outside's want it too. So just get in your
Absolutely.
car and leave.
Well, there's people that have pulled up to the back of the house and they have turned around and left, even though they paid for a night there. They won't go. There's a giant, they call it a wolf. So I don't know if it's more like Dogman or a skinwalker that comes down from the hill or the mountain behind the house onto the property. And that has run some people into the house when they've seen it. So paranormal,
Hmm.
Declassified. So Paul Beeben, who did Mission Declassified, he also did a series called or Paranormal Declassified. So that is one of the better shows of, because they've been on there, Portals to Hell. There's a many number of shows that they have been on, and they've
Yeah.
turned down a number of shows too. You can see them on Nick Groff's Death Walker, and that you can see on Freebie or one of those. It's on there. It started out with Discovery Plus in the UK, and then in Canada. Now over here it's on Freebie or one of those, several of those.
Oh
But
wow.
so he was there. He was supposed to stay 2 nights. He stayed one night. Something kept telling him in his head, go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep. It was just, so when he films that, it's just Nick Groff and his cousin. His cousin was staying at the motel. So Nick was there by himself,
Oh
and
my
he didn't stay the
gosh.
second night. He wants to come back and do another, part two, because he was interviewing me because I would be on that show. He was interviewing me, and we're standing in the living room and the scratch room where everybody gets scratched. And almost
Mhm.
every night at 8:30, when she's doing the tour, you hear Toby in that room hissing or growling. So I'm standing there, the scratch room is there, the doors are open. And once I heard it, it was fairly soft. And then when they're wrapping up the interview, you get a really loud hiss. Nick's eyes get big, his cousin's eyes kind of bug out.
Oh
and,
wow.
and I just look at him, I go, that's Toby. Toby's just saying hello.
Wow. But it seems like he's trying to be very scary, but once you know Toby, he's a sweetheart. I hate to say that.
Well,
He's
he
If
either
he's gonna
way, I mean,
protect you. He'll try
yeah,
to
he's
scare
gonna
you if he doesn't know you. But
he is. Well, a bunch of the spirits there, it seems like, and Toby are very protective of the house, and Sonny and Kathy feel like they're caretakers of the house. That there's a lot more to that house. There's portals to the house, and the well that's underneath. We don't know exactly what's going on there. There were several of us in the scratch room, and Kathy and Donna, the historian, are digging through the fireplace that's in there, and they took up the bricks off the hearth. And as they're getting down there trying to dig stuff out, there were four of us in the room too that were standing there. And all of a sudden, you hear coming from the floor and you feel the vibrations from the hits. It's bam, bam, bam. Just like if you would think somebody you lived in a downstairs apartment, they're being noisy, and you took a broom handle and you're hitting the ceiling, tell
oh
them to shut
yeah,
up.
that's pretty loud.
Yeah, yeah. We all kind of looked at each other as like, does that mean, yeah, keep digging, you're going to find us, or does that mean we don't want you down here? We don't know which way that went.
Golly. Oh my gosh. I hope nobody's crazy enough to go in those channels and try to explore. Like that just seems That
Well,
that's weird. And I think looking at the pictures online, I saw that hill. Is it grassy in the back? Like really grassy?
no, well, it's not grassy in the back. It is very. Now they lost a bunch of the cactus when we had a couple years ago. When we had that below zero weather, but the
Okay.
cactus are like trees. Their trunks are like this big around. I mean, they're a huge like tree trunks,
Mm-hmm.
and they're massive. And there's a lot of that up there. So a lot of them did die and didn't come back. So there's a few more openings, but you know, there's stuff going on back in those woods. Like when I start talking about Paul Beeben, when they were there filming Paranormal Declassified, they were taking a break. They went outside. Kathy and Sonny were in the camper, and so they went outside to get a smoke. And somebody had walked up and was like just right within the tree line, the cactus line, and they all hollered at Sonny. They thought it was Sonny, but Sonny was in the camper.
Mm. I'm sorry. Well, like I'm listening and taking it in and
And they kind of they quit filming because uh Paul Beeben and gosh, I can't think of the other guy's name. He has been on has a like Ghost of Shepherd Sound. He's got a number of shows. In fact, there's one where they're like a ghost town up in Montana or somewhere. They've done a couple seasons up there. So he was, on the show with Paul Beeben, and they were in two different rooms. Paul Beeben was sitting on the bed in the X room
mm-hmm.
when he got scratched. He had a V scratched in the back of his neck.
Oh,
And then they picked up a couple of threatening EVPs. They decided it was time to stop recording the show.
oh my goodness. Thank God we're not like physically at this house doing a podcast because I know it would be way too much for me and we would probably have a lot of activity.
And Jack Osborne, he still to this day, if he's asked where's the scariest place you've been, and he will say Haunted Hill House.
Wow.
That
That's
one scares him the
craziness.
most. Well, he got touched for the first time in that house.
Ah,
He went into that bathroom that was unsealed and he got touched. So
it's just, it amazes me. Like, this stuff has happened and yeah, there was people who weren't supposed to die, so I do understand that the spirit feels captured until it moves on, but you know I know for me, like I never want to be caught as a ghost here and trying to scare people away. I actually just want to go to heaven and that's it and be peaceful. But I'm just wondering, like, why this happens. I don't know if anybody has ever dug into that. Why is the spirit here to haunt people, to tell them
well,
to back off and scare them?
that's one of the things with the house, because the house, while people will rent it for different events, it in reality the majority of it is a paranormal research facility.
Mm-hmm.
They've had some serious people come in. um they had a scientist there for a week with all sorts of
Okay.
equipment,
Uh-huh.
trying to catch things. And I've got missing time there, about 45 minutes. They said I sat on the bed in one of the rooms. That was right after I got scratched and bit. And so that was an event. So what do they do? They go into the they go into the kitchen. Everybody sits there and watches me for 45 minutes.
Did they
And
have
I'm
you
just
on
sitting there
tape?
like I'm like sitting there staring at my phone. And for me, there was no missing time. And I didn't believe until too many people said, yes, you did. And my thing is like, why the heck didn't somebody go shake me and go, hey, are you okay?
They're probably scared of you, girl. I would be like, if you looked all missing and be like, something entered her body and is using it. I'm not gonna go, I'll make sure
I'm
she's
just,
okay, but
so I'm just, I'm sitting there, so did I pass through a portal? I mean, where did I go? Where was I? What?
Yeah,
Was I
45 minutes.
somewhere, but my body was there? Or what? I don't know.
Hair, I grew up with epilepsy, and it'll be another podcast. I'll probably talk about it, but I've had outer body experiences quite a lot. And, it's a hard thing to talk about because it opens this other door. Like, I could see myself. I had the security guard going, Nadine, don't die. And I'm like, I'm right here. And I was like, why am I just still against the bathroom stall? Like, I couldn't even understand it. And then I have felt myself before jump back into my body, sit up, from a seizure and be like, I died. Like, and then I'm back out. Like, it's the weirdest thing. But,
Yeah, yeah.
sitting there when you say that, it almost feels like a seizure feels like you're out. You do have missing time too. I'm not saying you had a seizure, but
Right. Yeah, no. Yeah, I was sitting dead still, wasn't moving, just staring
God,
at my phone in my hand because it was in my hand. So if it hadn't been that, I guess it would have been my hand. I wasn't doing anything. I wasn't looking at my phone. I was just sitting there
oh my gosh, that's so scary.
like a statue.
Like it just sitting there. To me, it just sounds like they wanted to use your body for some kind of energy, whether you're just sitting there. That's just how I look at it, but I don't know. It's creepy.
Yeah. Well, I feel like, if they saw all that, I have no memory of it, but I think that I went somewhere. I don't know where. I don't
Yeah,
know who I saw, but for me, that's kind of what I feel like.
yeah,
But, you know, hey, maybe the aliens came. That
exactly. Who
maybe
knows?
the aliens came through one of the portals or something.
I
I don't
would,
know.
yeah, I don't even think I would want to even go there. Like maybe Halloween night. Like, is there any number sequence kind of thing to this about the people who died there? Like, is there a reoccurring month or reoccurring date?
No,
Like,
no.
that's craziness.
Just,
Okay.
different things that happened. So the family that lived there for 20 years, the one, and I interviewed her for a couple hours. I've talked to her off and on before that, but while I was doing the book, I literally talked to her because there's an unsolved murder. When they bought the house in 2018, it was a 10-year-old unsolved murder. We're pretty sure that the girl was murdered in this house. She knew the people. We have a photograph of her in the back seat of the car with the house in the background the day that she went missing, and her face is all bruised up. And she was missing for about a year, and then they found some of her bones in a pasture.
Oh,
And
wow.
there's the whole lot that goes with that. But initially, when they bought the house through one of the apps, and her family coming over saying that's her voice, she was telling what happened to her. She was naming names. They were getting first and last names of the suspects.
Oh, wow.
That she was saying that, this is who and this is what they did. I mean, it was totally bizarre where she
Yeah.
was telling, and she hasn't been to the house in a while anymore. She was around the first couple of years. I think when she finally felt like people were concerned about her, people are trying to solve things, talking to someone who had been the police chief at the time. He claims a lot of the stuff that they had evidence, documents or whatever came up missing. I question that. There's another detective down with the sheriff's department down in Travis County,
Mm-hmm.
and he stayed at the house once in the very
Oh,
beginning, and he brought his cadaver dog, and he's been all over the place. He has stayed in Transylvania, the castle, just him and his wife. So he's been a lot of places. But
mm-hmm.
the night he was there with his dog, he was getting like rocks, pebbles being thrown at him from upstairs. That's just him and his dog in the house. He was hearing glass breaking, whether it was windows or like collectibles all night long. He was chasing breaking glass, but there was none. And when he had his dog, and then a friend of his, who's a friend of mine now too, who is a professional metal detectorist, um, they found one of the girl's earrings there. They found a pocket knife that belonged to her that was unique, that had been her dad's. So there's several things that were found, but bless his dog's heart, his dog has PTSD from that house.
Well, I can believe that. I
Yeah.
think
The dog
animals
was
are
so
more
old.
accepted to see all this stuff,
Yeah.
like, and they know. So,
Right,
yeah.
and so there's another lady who came out. She was out there initially with her canines when they found the bones, you know, the past. So she came back to the house because we've been told that there. Oh, so there's a guy in prison now who said he killed his girlfriend, and so the person I interviewed said that he did, and he chopped her up and put her in 3 metal boxes, and she was buried on the property about 8 feet deep. So, you know, we know who we even found one of her earrings on the property.
Oh, wow.
And he doesn't want to tell anybody where she is because what I've heard from people who know him is that he's afraid that they'll find out that she was pregnant at the time and he'll get the death penalty. Well, you know, that can't happen. He's
Yeah.
already been sentenced. And so we've looked. So the constable had the same lady come out with her cadaver dog, and they
Mm.
kept hitting in a particular spot. And when Portals to Hell was there, they did get LiDAR out, but they just did one little part of the property, and that was it. And they had identified some things. So Kathy and Sonny actually had somebody come in with a like a backhoe or something, but it was a small one, and it could only go 6 foot deep. And when you're doing that, I mean, you could be right next to it, but you're not there. So nothing
Yeah.
was found, but we don't know.
Yeah. Oh my goodness gracious. That's creepy. So, yeah, I mean, the kids, it sounds like more younger than older died. Is that
Well, no, a
correct?
lot of the other owners died naturally, the ones in the 1800s, early 1900s. And what's kind of interesting, so there is a house over in Jefferson, Texas. Um, it's the Claiborne House, I believe it is.
Mm-hmm.
There is an old photograph of the front of Hill House, and there is a man in a sick bed on the porch. He came for the healing waters. That was Claiborne, who had been some kind of war hero or something, and his house has a historical plaque in Jefferson. So he came for that. But when he did go home, he died about 3 days later. But he was there's an actual picture of him
Oh, wow.
there. So
Oh my goodness. That's creepy. I'm just taking everything you're telling in, and I'm just like imagining. I'm sorry, I never want to see this house. Like, I don't even want to drive
well,
by it.
people drive by it all the time. There's been people that have gone up on the porch, even with the no trespassing signs. And because of security cameras, you can see them and they can hear them, and they've gotten physically ill
Yeah.
when they get up on the porch. They're not supposed to be there, and it's
You see, that's why, like, how do they make you ill? How can they make you ill? Like, how does the spirit do that?
I don't know. I do
That's a
know.
good answer.
I
I don't
mean,
know
I don't
either.
know. I know that some people who are sensitive even to stuff, uh, that can be one of their reactions. There's a house out here over in Cedar Creek Lake area that uh is a historical house, and they had gone and brought in some stuff from some other places, and they brought in this doctor's stuff, and this doctor was actually beaten. He was in his 80s, late 70s, and he had a 20-something-year-old boyfriend who beat him to death and killed him. And I went to the estate sale at his clinic, because he was like apartment or house attached to the
Hmm.
clinic. And I felt something creepy was like following me through the whole dang thing. And when I
Oh,
went up to this house, and I had been there several times because I was going to host some events, but then they filled it up. And when I went in that room and I saw that doctor's stuff, I knew immediately that the person who built the house and had lived there did not like it. I just was a feeling I had he did not like it. But so when my team came, because I had a team at the time, and now it's just kind of a loose fit team
Hmm.
with East Texas Paranormal. So when she got up there, she didn't know that story. She didn't know his stuff was in there. As soon as she got up there, she started getting sick to her stomach. And anytime she gets near anything negative, she starts getting really sick to her stomach, like she's going to pass out, throw up, all the above. And as soon as she leaves that area, she's fine.
Yeah. Yep, I've heard it before. So
Yep.
yeah, it's just I've always wondered about that. Why? How does that even
Well,
happen?
I don't know. Like the one enforcer at Hill House, he can make people sick. How he does it, I don't know.
Yeah, yeah,
I don't
I
have,
totally,
nobody really knows.
yeah,
You, it just happens.
just,
Um, one thing I have noticed, because I do private residential and business investigations, I had noticed through the years, because I've done that for 30 years,
mm-hmm,
that I can go to a location where there is activity. 9 times out of 10, there's not really anything there, or it's a residual, but I can go to an actual location where people have lived there for a while. And but when I go, everybody's sick. I mean, everybody like has Parkinson's, or somebody's got, just all kinds of different diseases, right?
yeah,
But what I have noticed is in some places where they're actually living and there's constant activity, the health is not good at all. So I have a friend who's was big in the paranormal. He's like this math genius. He's trying to he spent 10 years or more trying to prove the wormhole theory, that wormholes open into different things, and this is where this stuff is coming from. But one thing he did discover, or he was discovering working this, or his theory is, there's natural gamma rays that are just like EMF. There's natural
yeah,
all over the earth. But his theory is, an active location, when you're hearing things and seeing things, a wormhole is open, and that's what he was trying to prove.
yeah,
And it can stay open forever. It can move around. It can open and close. I mean, just all these different varieties. But what he believes is, as the wormhole, the portal, or whatever you want to call it, is closing, it emits high amounts of gamma. So a lot of these people that have had diseases in these houses with high activity that I've dealt with actually have diseases that could, you know, come under radiation sickness, could fall, not that it is necessarily, but it can fall within the realms of different,
yeah,
symptoms they have, which is really fascinating. And if you think about it, if anybody watches The Secret of Skinwalker Ranch, they have had some things where all of a sudden there's been a really high, range of gamma rays, and they've had radiation, they've gotten affected by the radiation.
oh wow,
So, I don't know.
so many theories. Like, I mean, okay, yeah,
I know I never thought I would be talking physics, string theory, and all these different things, but when a group of us gets together, all of that stuff goes in. It's like, oh my gosh.
yeah, yeah, definitely. And
Yeah.
when you have more people there to witness what goes on too, like, yeah, it does become factual and a documentary, and people should
So
learn from
it's
this.
not just, oh, let's go hunt ghosts for fun. We're actually trying to discover things, and causations, and reactions, so much
Yeah,
more.
I was, I heard the Adolphus in Dallas was haunted or something. So I remember I
Yeah.
brought my Ghostbuster onesie PJs there. I was like, oh, I gotta get a photo of me in the hallway like I'm hunting ghosts, or, I just, oh, but now it's just, I've come to the theory, yes, I believe in it. Hearing these stories are great. Do I choose to put it behind me? I would like to.
You
But
know,
there,
it's like I would call myself a skeptical believer. I know because of what I've experienced, what I've seen, what I've heard, what I have felt. I know there is something out there, but is it a ghost? You know, what is a ghost technically? We don't know what it is.
Yeah, there's demon, ghosts, and spirits. Okay, so you have all those different things, and
Those
like
are the words, yeah, and those are the words and the descriptions that we have, but what is it really? We don't
exactly.
know. You know, we don't know what it is in reality. We just have the things through the years that we've come up with. But I know there were some people out that were doing an investigation outside somewhere, and they think there was a portal there, or a wormhole, whatever you want to call it, because they could hear, they heard people, and they were like talking softly, and they heard, you know, audible sounds coming through. But what they were hearing was, shh, you hear that? You hear them? So almost like there was somebody on the other side, whether it's multiverse or what, listening to them, thinking they were, you know, they were ghosts.
Oh
It
my
was
goodness
really
gracious.
bizarre.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh. Oh. I just, there's either okay, so I know I have other questions. I know I'm running short on time too. Would you recommend people to go to this house to go and visit?
absolutely. Absolutely. Go. You know, they can go on their event page on Facebook or on their website, which is hauntedhillhouse.com, to see if there's an event going on that they might want to attend, you know, as a VIP, because they don't do just tours, except for once or twice a year. And or you can get a group of people together, up to 8 people, and you can go rent the place for the night.
I'm sorry, I'm laughing. I'm like, no. But I know people are going to do it. So I will put information on the Facebook page for Keep Hope Alive and everything. And definitely, like, I know I already saw one of their on their Facebook page. They have a YouTube commercial thingy for it, and I posted that. I liked it. It was like all gray smoke
Their
and
son, yeah, well, their son put together I don't know if it's a commercial that their son did,
mm-hmm,
but he did one for them because he does things like that
mm-hmm,
for a living,
mm-hmm.
and it has people falling down the stairs. It has shows the scratches, so it's they're using stuff that's, you know, really happened
Real.
in the house in there. Yeah, the real stuff,
Yeah, and
absolutely.
I noticed that about their website. I was very impressed because it's like, here's our audio, what we found. Here's our visual. It gave 3 categories. Like, it's almost like we're not cropping you. This house is really haunted. And if you want to come, here's footage, want to capture something better, go ahead. They'll probably be up for more investigations too. So, but yeah,
Yeah. And then they can always go to Amazon and buy my book, Haunted Hill House,
yes, yes, I need to get that book definitely.
or go to one of the conferences that I'll be at coming
Okay,
up this
well,
fall.
let's get those listed on the page too. So I will list your conferences, your Amazon book link on there, and we are going to get it rocking and rolling. I mean, you have been great. I'm going to just tell you, today is Friday the 13th.
Right. Friday the
And
13th.
I'm interviewing you on this, and I'm like, it's so funny because I'm at work. I do my podcast from work, and my coworker is still here, so he's going in and out, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And then I forgot to turn my Instagram notification off, and it's going ding. And I was like, I think there's a couple times my Instagram scared me. So you did a good job of letting us know about this. I'm gonna be jumpy all night.
That's
So
good. And when I leave my travel trailer, I get to walk through a little bit of woods to get over to the
oh
house.
my gosh. Okay. Yeah. You better like text me and say, hey, I am safe. I don't, yeah. I mean, it's been good vibes. And, it's just talking about this. People take it different ways. So if you're somebody who is very sensitive to this stuff, I always say, hey, boundaries are good. Set them up, So, but this was great for me to do interviewing you. I'm telling you, it's just it's one of those crazy, crazy times. But you had a lot of experience, and you are one tough cookie is what I'm picking up. You're like, hey, bring it on, try harder. I'm not going anywhere. Scare me. I can sit on a bed for 45 minutes, not know where I am. I got this. You know,
Right.
my friend, I love her to death. She passed in December, and I know she's with me. And especially if I have to go, I've been in the hospital a couple times for kidney stones and crap like that. But I feel that she is with me, and I love that feeling. But there's also
Yeah.
times like something will drop, and I'll be like, that didn't scare me. Can you try harder? Let me know you're there. And then I think one time in my bathroom, I sneezed and the lights went off and came back on. And I was like, wait, I know my sneeze is not that strong. Like, is she trying to tell me something there? You know what's going on. But, it's fun. As kids growing up, we hear haunted stories, and people used to sit by the campfire and do all that fun stuff. And then you have the haunted houses I never went to, and I have a good excuse. I have epilepsy. I can't be around strobes. So, and even if I could, I don't think I would go. There was a place that I did go when I was younger, and it was in Allen Plano, Hedgecoaks Drive. They said there was like some guy that lived in a shack out there and blah, blah, blah. And at the time, I was very young. I was working at Arby's for my first job, but a bunch of us went there at night to prove there's nothing scary. Well, we lost a car. So the two guys we were with, they went to go look for the car, and they left me and my friend in the woods. We didn't have cell phones. We didn't have
Nope.
a flashlight, and you hear, and I was like, what the heck is that? Is it a pig? Here we know is a crazy man with some machete knife running around, and there's like stuff in the woods. And thank God the guys came back, but like that was some scary stuff. So yeah, I just, good job to October for scaring people. And yeah. But I do want to thank you. I'm going to put my glasses on because I got to read some stuff. And I hope you enjoyed being on the podcast
I did.
today and
Yeah, I
sharing
did.
all that information. It's great to have you. So our sponsors I would like to thank, of course, is lifeonrecord.com. They do your guest book. You can also use it to call in and tell us your ghost story, or if you have any feedback for Martha, she'll be able to answer that. And that number is 833-780-HOPE. So our other sponsor is Party Time Texas. Yeah, Bill Cody's Party Time Texas. Your one place to stop and shop and get your vendor needs. If you need great DJs, bands, entertainers, people doing hula, the champagne dress, they got it all. So come and visit them at www.partytimetexas.com. Miles and Smiles. Also, she is amazing. DeborahRose.com. And she does, I think, private investigations, and she is a very good fortune teller. She is very accurate too. So kudos to Miles and Smiles. Dallas Bridal Shows Inc. They do all your fabulous trade shows for the bridal and event industry. If you are planning an event or getting married soon, you got to check out their website to see when their next trade show is and learn who those vendors are. And then we also have Mr. Bryce Harney, who is a great Class A magician who is traveling the United States right now. You see Bryce, I'm saying traveling. So, but he's very, very good. And his website is www.brycemagic.com. So I want to thank the sponsors for making this come true. When I talk ghost stories with people, I just have to say, I'm thinking of my friend Patty. She knows I am. So kudos to you, Patty. I got a little key in there, but We're so excited to have you, and our next show will be filmed in the next couple days. Please visit us at www.keephopealivepodcast.com. You can find us on wherever you find your podcast, and then also on our Facebook page, we have Keep Hope Alive and Partytime Texas podcast.com fans page. So you can write in there as well. So once again, Martha Hazzard Decker, thank you so much. And I look forward to getting this posted for everybody to see. And thank you for sharing your time with us.
Well, you're welcome. I enjoyed it.
Oh, all right. Until next time, keep hope alive.